Pottery is grounded in Czechoslovakia.
Thank you, my friend. I love the enthusiasm, but bro, we got to get the show on. Come on, the viewers. We've been talking for nearly 30 minutes now, but hey, we got to get the Soul Sessions on the road. But yes, viewers, sorry about that host there. I am Soul. Welcome to the host of the Soul Sessions. And, guys, I know I usually introduce guests, give them a little tag name and everything. But, guys, you can see here's Frank Gallo. And, Frank, I can't give you a nickname, pal, because I don't know. I mean, Frank, what is going on, man? We've been talking for half an hour, and you've been going on from pottery, scenery, gardening, the mountain climbing. What's going on, man?
Everything's going on. I'm coming to you live from Methyl Docks. And what I like about the area that I live in, Ben, is there's a sense of urgency in the salty sea air. So if I go off topic a little bit, it's because of the atmosphere I'm in. It's because I'm highly excited to be talking to you, Ben. And I just want to say to you, I'm very appreciative of this opportunity.
Well, I love to give every guest an opportunity. And if that climate is giving you the buzz for the Soul Sessions, then hey, I am all for that climate. But this is a wrestling show. This is a wrestling interview show. So we better get on to the wrestling. So Frank, every guest has a story. How did your story begin? It's wrestling. This is the Soul Sessions, a wrestling interview show, Frank. I need to know how your story began with wrestling.
I thought we were going to be discussing Northern Soul, but that's fine. I like wrestling as well. So, wrestling, how did I get started in wrestling? How did I begin my love affair with the sport of professional wrestling? It's hard to say. It was a really long time ago, Ben. A really long time ago. But, rather than discuss how I started wrestling and how I discovered the beautiful sport, I would like to discuss what I enjoy about wrestling.
Okay.
I feel as though we can watch today's product, we can watch local shows, and each of these things have their merits, and each of these things are fantastic. But I like to mine the depths of wrestling. You see, I think there's something to be found in the past. And I feel passionate about that. In fact, I feel like there's so much value in the past that the old wrestling adage, what's old is new again, is very relevant. So, yes, I found wrestling independently on my own a long time ago. Some of my favorites, if we want to discuss that, is that what we're looking to talk about here?
I think that's a fair reason, pal. I mean, what were your favorites, Frank, from this time long ago in the past?
Well, I think my early memories would consist of a lot of Bret Hart would be an early favourite. But look, that was then. But I like to go a little bit further. You see, in the UK, there was a really strong scene, and I feel quite passionate that the UK scene helped to seed wrestling around the globe in a lot of ways. So, people like Terry Rudge, Pete Roberts, the Dynamite Kid. These are the people that I look up to when it comes to people from the UK. Aside from that, I've got a bit of a penchant for the territory days of North American wrestling. So people like Harley Race, Terry Funk, Dusty Rhodes. The list goes on and on and on and on and on. But look, you've done this many times, Ben. You're a professional. You're an investigative journalist. Huh?
I do try.
And you do a great job. You do a fantastic job. But now it's time for the interviewer to become the interviewee, my friend. What do you think about that?
Is this now the Frank Sessions or something else? Something happening here?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the new show, the new sensation, To Be Frank, hosted by your very own Methyl's favourite son, Frank Gallo. And Ben, I've got a few questions for you, my friend. I've got a few questions for you. You ready?
I'm prepared, ready, yes. Okay.
So, reaction time's a factor in this, Ben. So, please answer honestly and quickly. Okay? So, first thing I want to ask you. you're asking guests about wrestling and their past and you know how they got into the beautiful sport. How did you get into wrestling, Ben? What was your first experience with the squared circle?
Oh God! Wow! Well, folks, time to open up here. This is the Q&A now. Well, fine, fair enough. For me, I've always said this and it surprised people, but I got into wrestling in 2019. I wasn't, someone as a kid or someone as a teen. I was in my adult years in university, and I got into wrestling because I needed something to watch while studying for a paper. I need background noise, and I came across a list of top 10 bloody WWE matches, and I was like, oh, this sounds something interesting to put on the background. And I watched it, and it was the Eddie Guerrero versus JBL match,
Ooh.
Judgment Day.
Beautiful.
Terrible. Indeed so. And I was hooked, and I was wanting to learn and more, and I did histories of feuds with CM Punk's walkout in the pipe bomb and learning about the NWA and learning about everything going on. And it was just a whole circle drain from there and joining and learning about this professional sport we love.
I love it. I love it.
Oh,
I love that you could find it in 2019. What age are you, Ben? What age are you?
I'm 25, my friend.
25. So a relatively late age to be finding the biz.
Very much so. And now look at me now having my own show. Shows I love
Absolutely.
it so much.
And doing a fantastic job. And I think that's a beautiful tale. A beautiful tale. But let's move away from the world of the squared circle. Huh? What do you think?
I think that's fair.
Let's go into something a little bit more philosophical. You're an educated guy. You've just told me that you were studying for what was your qualification, Ben?
Bachelor's in nursing, my friend.
Wow. So one of the good guys, genuinely. Well, firstly, if I had a hat, I would take it off. Maybe this is a hat, Ben. Maybe it is a hat.
Well, Frank, it's a fancy hat, my friend. Very curly. If you've seen my previous episodes in the past, I had hair or a hat just like that, and it's gone.
Hats. First you've got them, then you don't, eh? So, the question is, nature or nurture? Is it the case that you are born and learn your behaviors, or are they inherent, the very part of easy for me to say? Let me reframe that question, Ben, because I tripped on my tongue there for a second.
Ooh, can't do that, big man.
The question is, nature or nurture? This has long been debated in scientific circles. The question is, are we born with certain characteristics, or do we learn certain behaviors via our environment?
Well,
what are your thoughts on that, Ben?
Well, as a man of the medical world, I think that we learn and adapt as our time goes on. We could be one person one day and another the next. Through our environment, we can learn and adapt and change. You can be a guy who is loved by the crowd in wrestling, or one day you could be a guy who's despised by the crowd, and your attitude towards those fans could change and flip like a dime. You never know in this world, Frank. Would you agree?
I would agree. And Ben, I would suggest that while we can change based on the environment, because we're adaptable, indeed.
True.
Some personality traits are just part of the fiber of our being. They're just part of who we are. Some of them. Maybe some of those manifest later. Maybe some of those pop up here and there when we least expect them. Huh?
Very true, Frank. Maybe an underwhelming or underdwelling characteristic, and it just takes one little thing to set it off. It was there from the beginning, but you never know.
Indeed. So, that concludes my questioning. For now, maybe we'll ask some more later. I just hit myself with the microphone.
Oh, careful there.
Sorry about that. Okay. So, I don't want to interrupt you any further. Although, one thing I would say, perhaps off the back of what you suggested there, is that you never know what's going to happen in this crazy world. You never know what's going to happen in this crazy world of wrestling. 1 minute you're here, the next minute you're there. So you've got to enjoy it, absorb it. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely, Frank. I do indeed. But we'll take time away from the Frank sessions and go back to the soul sessions now, Frank.
Indeed.
You mentioned how characters and environments can change on a dime. And I've been in shows where you've appeared, such as, Discovery Wrestling Disco Derby and FPWA shows. And the crowd love you, my friend. They get off their seats. They're drinking their drink. They're standing and cheering. Frank, for you, how does it feel to have that recognition from the fans?
It's very important to me. It makes me well up inside, to say the least. And I don't understand what these people seem to see in me, or if they see nothing in me. Ben, it matters, but I've just got to do what I do. It matters a great deal, but I need to proceed and forge ahead because I've got one goal in mind at any given time, and that's to win!
Well, absolutely. It's everyone's goal to win and succeed, but winning, Frank, is a particular, way you love to win. Do you love to have this crowd celebrate, or do you like to win and just soak in the experience?
Look, if I'm booked, I'm there to win. If I receive adulation and respect from a loving audience, then it's really hard for me to put into eloquent wording the impact that has on me. However, I prepared something that might reflect on some of my feelings, maybe a little bit more eloquently than I ever possibly could. And this is by William Blake. And this is called The Sick Rose. O Rose, thou art sick, the invisible worm that flies in the night in the howling storm, has found out thy bed of crimson joy, and his dark secret love does thy life destroy. And I think, Ben, that sums up what I'm trying to put across here.
Very powerful words, Frank, indeed. And they bring across a great meaning. I think viewers can take away and adapt to their own lifestyles in a perfect way. But, Frank, let's talk about a certain place, a place where you're also loved by your colleagues and the fans, and that is Fife Pro Wrestling Asylum, FPWA. I want to know, Frank, how did FPWA originally come across your radar?
Well, when FPWA started, I quickly recognized this is the place that I need to be to start to sharpen my tools, Ben. It seemed like the logical place, given that it's called an asylum. I felt like this was the place that I could be me. I don't know if they found me or I found them, but I think it was meant to be.
Well, I would definitely agree so as well, Frank, my friend. And obviously we've had Andy Roberts on, who's the head trainer at FPWA. I want to know what was it like first meeting Andy? Was he a very welcoming fellow, or were you a bit interested by his mystique?
He's a gentleman, a scholar, my mentor, the main man. Everything I've learned from him. And I have nothing but the utmost respect and adoration for that man. One of the best wrestlers in the country. One of the best wrestlers on the planet.
High praise indeed coming for Andy Roberts. And obviously Andy has his championship, the UEWA heavyweight championship was held for over 1,000 odd days. Do you think that just cements his status as the best wrestler on the planet?
Look, what he's achieved with that belt and everything else in his long, storied, incredible career. I've got nothing but undying respect for that man. For that reign, wow. I think you summed it up. I think it cements him and his legacy forever. And that's just the start. Who knows what else he's going to do?
Well, exactly. We never know what the future may hold and what people may think or say to us, Frank. But of course, there's many other people within FPWA. Daisy Jenkins, Ashley Vega, Hunter Sampson, Jason Reed, Tommy Cartel. And I spoke to some of these individuals, and when I bring up your name, they have trouble wording the response, Frank. Why do you think that is? That your colleagues at FPWA can't describe you?
That's actually a really, really fair question, Ben. Why do you think that is? Why do you think that is? Maybe that's the question I should be asking. Maybe I need to be getting this microphone out again. Eh?
Maybe
to answer that question. My mind might combust.
Oh, no, we can't have that on the Soul Session. So let's get to the Frank sessions then. Well, Frank, if you want to ask me the question, my friend, I will answer that question. I think why your colleagues have such a hard time describing you and putting their words and their vocal cords to respond to your character, I think it's because you're unique. You're out the mold. You're a frenzy.
Ben!
Come on, my friend. You know, I think it's just because you are so much of a frenzy and connective individual with the fans that no one can ever say one word, because it will be that one word they say and the next you'll be another.
Well, Ben, I'm blushing. I don't know if you can tell, but the lighting in here might spare me the embarrassment of that. Look, anybody's got any kind words to say about me, whether it's people in the audience, my friends and colleagues that I wrestle with on a weekly basis at training, I'm just super thankful. I don't feel like I deserve any of that praise. When it comes to receiving a kind of, good reaction from the audience or from anybody else, I'm just doing what I try to do most effectively as I possibly can. So, Ben, you're making me all shy here.
Oh, don't relax, my friend Frankie. We'll go back to the Soul Sessions now. But Frank, I need to know, with FPWAs, I put on a couple of shows, and I want to talk about "'Twas a Night at the Wrestling," the old time of year.
Christmas!
Indeed, the special time of year, Father Christmas, milk and cookies, and all that other fun and glory. You would be on the poster, front and center, Frank. What does it mean to you be on center of a poster for a wrestling event?
I always knew, from being a small child, I always knew that I had the potential to be the poster boy of something. For a while, I thought it was going to be a wanted poster. But look, the gods smiled upon me with that one. Look, again, I feel very fortunate that I could be on the poster of anything that doesn't involve me being collected by the authorities. So, I was thrilled to be part of it.
It's great to see. Thrilled, exciting attitudes, Frank. And obviously, I was at that show, and I can remember thinking, when's the poster boy coming out? When's he? He's not been on any match. What's going on? And you would come and save your mentor, your gentleman family man, Andy Roberts. What does it mean coming out and saving him?
Well, for one, that's my boss. So I've got to make sure that the boss is looked after. Not that he can't look after himself, but there was some serious injustice going on there. And I'm not a social justice warrior, but if there's anything that I despise more than inequality, it's injustice. And I felt like the cards were unfairly stacked against the boss on that night. And in my back garden, the disrespect shown in my backyard, Ben, these people arriving on the scene, taking advantage of the company that birthed me and the show. No. That was never going to happen, Ben. Not on my watch, and I'm not wearing one. Ha!
Oh, well, hey, we can't have disrespect in the house that FPWA built. No. Absolutely not. But I know FPWA have more shows. Another show they would have was a cross-promotion show with New Wave Academy. Which wrestled Jason Reed.
Yeah.
He's now the ICW ZOG champion. A champion. Yeah. You've wrestled a champion now. I mean, Jason's a fun individual. I mean, when I asked him about you, he was very speechless. Couldn't say a word. I gotta know, wrestling Jason Reed at FPWA Cross New Wave Academy. What was that like?
That was very difficult, Ben. I had him. Felt like I had him. Look, at the end of the day, the better man on the night won. That's all I want to say about Jason Reed. Look, nobody can deny that guy. He's obviously one of the most talented wrestlers in the country. next time we meet in the ring, next time, we'll see what happens next time.
Oh, well, who knows, Frank? Maybe we'll hear the sound raining throughout the crowd and the arena. New ICW 0G champion, Frank Gallo.
Yes! Yes, yes, yes! I like the sound of that, Ben. That fires me up.
Well, I'm glad to have. We love a guest fired up and ready to take on the gold, but obviously, more would come for you, Frank. You've wrestled with others by your side. You've been with the Par against Leon Graves and Casino Brutal.
Yes.
And obviously,
they are kicked my head in.
Oh, indeed, Frank, disrespecting you. But obviously, I know your team there, the meat guys, the crowd love to chat and the meat at them. When you had your butcher apron ready in the car for the show. What does it mean teaming with the Par? The
Par, one of the most talented young teams, again, in the country, in the planet, the universe. Friends of mine. I've got a lot of time for those guys. In fact, I think, you start to put us in a trio more often. We might start to be known as, something a little bit different. Maybe that becomes a regular thing. Maybe you call us Strutting and Putting. That's what I like to hear. Strutting and Putting, worldwide, Fife-wide, Scotland-wide, Scotland Yard. Ha!
Whoa! Wow, absolutely. Strutting and Wilding, who could be maybe AEW Trios champion or never openweight six-man champions. Could be gold in Strutting's future, Frank. You never know. Gold. Yes, my friend, gold. We all have a bit of gold. You never know, Frank. You never know. But obviously, Frank, more would come in your future. And you've done the Disco Derby for Discovery Wrestling.
Yes.
I got to know that was a lively atmosphere, my friend. And obviously, a brutal derby.
Yes.
What happened there, my friend? For the viewers who were not there, tell us, entering that derby, what did it mean?
It meant the world to me, Ben. It meant everything. For me to be given the opportunity, in fact, no, I was given nothing. I earned the opportunity.
Ooh, okay.
I earned the opportunity by beating Ryan Richards, who was up to that point completely undefeated in Discovery, in singles competition, that is. So I was given nothing. I earned the opportunity, but look, it meant everything to me to earn that opportunity to be part of the Disco Derby, one of the premier events in the country. I've got such love and respect for Discovery Wrestling, and I hope one day I get the chance to wrestle for that company again, because I want to climb to the top of the ladder there. That's masking tape, by the way, and that was a light falling down. Lighting means nothing to me. Forget the lighting. Doesn't matter. And masking tape means nothing to me either. Although, the thing with masking tape is, it's extremely useful for, taping your paper to the easel. That's why it was there in the first place, Ben. So Discovery Wrestling's as important to me as painting is. And this is as yet unfinished.
Obviously, Frank, I can see the talent you've put onto that canvas, so it must show the passionate talent you have for Discovery Wrestling.
Absolutely. Discovery Wrestling is very close to my heart. I made my debut there. My in-ring debut was in a match pitting FPWA against Joe Henry's school. This isn't plugged in.
Yeah? But hey, Joe Hendry, that obviously putting against Joe Hendry's school. We've had some of his students on as well, Ronan King and Judas Gray. Going against students taught under such a legendary talent as Joe Hendry, that must have been a challenge.
Intimidating.
I can imagine. You never know. Ooh, really? My God.
Absolutely. Look, if you've been under the tutelage of Joe Hendry, you know what the hell you're doing, which makes my job difficult.
Well, we don't want to make Frank Gallo's job difficult at all, do we?
We do, because the obstacle is the way, my friend.
A challenge. I guess. Because you never know where your ascending rise could be if you don't overcome those challenges, Frankie boy?
Absolutely. It's a necessary evil. Or is it evil? Who knows? But without obstacles, Ben, without obstacles. We can never achieve our fullest potential. Sometimes in life, you've got to cut off part of yourself in order to grow.
Very true indeed, Frank. But also, I know you mentioned there that you hate injustice. That is a deafening word in your vocabulary. But there was injustice at the Disco Derby. You know, Monstrum would help eliminate Caleb Valhalla from the Disco Derby. That injustice has got to infuriate you, Frank.
Absolutely. Caleb is a fantastic specimen for one, and a fantastic wrestler. And I've got the utmost respect for Caleb. He did not deserve the treatment he received. And had I been around, you know, maybe I'd have been able to do something. But I'd already been punted over the top rope. Ha! And that was my fault.
Frank, all happens to us.
Should have been better. Should have been better. Should have been better. Should have been better. Next time, though. Next time. Ha!
Next time, you can overcome that challenge of getting eliminated over the top rope and succeed.
We've got a mountain to climb. Exactly. We've got a mountain
exactly, pal. But now, the future. Some say the future's set in stone. Some say the future is uncertain. But I know the future is truth or dare for FPWA, Frank. And I know you've had another poster for you showing that you're going to be there, Frank. What does it mean to be at truth or dare?
Ben.
Yes.
There's nothing that could be more meaningful to me than to perform, to wrestle in front of my hometown. But look, this show's unpredictable. We don't know what's going to happen.
True. Very true. That's the whole thing.
I don't know if I'm on it. I don't know if I'm wrestling. I know I'm on the poster. Let's hope I'm there. If not, well, I don't know. Maybe I'll sell hot dogs. Maybe I'll just jump behind the bar and drink from the bar taps. Draft cola.
Oh, only the finest. Give me a slice of lime when I'm there, pal. Have that on standby for me. You'll be a good barman if you decide to do. Always got to be prepared, Frank.
Slice of lime all the time.
Oh, good man. But obviously, you know, the whole truth or dare thing it's about, you know, getting a stipulation added to your match or something like that. And I need to know, Frank, you know, if you are there and are going to be in a match and there was a stipulation there that you would want to avoid, is there a particular one you want to avoid and why?
The obstacle is the way, my friend. Whatever the stipulation, whoever the challenge, at the end of the day, I feel like I thrive when there's some chaos in the air, Ben. I feel like I'm at my best when nobody really knows what's going to happen next, because that is the way I like to live my life. Inside and outside of wrestling.
Fair dues, Frank, indeed. And you know, you mentioned earlier that you love the UK wrestling, and the UK wrestling scene is going to explode with AEW coming in for All In at Wembley Stadium. As such a big admirer and love for UK wrestling, what does it mean for you, Frank, to see a big company take over Wembley Stadium for their show?
I feel like British wrestling has not seen its due respect, and you know, recent decades. And look, any time when there's a focus on wrestling in this country, you know, fills me with a great sense of enthusiasm, joy. So I think it's a huge positive for any company to be operating large crowds, large audiences in this country, because wrestling heritage in the UK is unlike any other in the world. And I think there needs to be huge appreciation for what this country's done for wrestling, and should be more awareness amongst everyone in this country about wrestling's past in the UK. But yes, anytime we want to shine a light and shine some spotlight on wrestling in the UK, I'm all for it. All for it.
All for it and all in for it, my friend. But I need to know, Frank, if big man Tony Khan came to you and said, Frank, I've seen your connection with the crowd. I've seen your crazy and undescribable attitude and behavior. I need to know. I want you on All In. I want you to represent your hometown. And you get to fight anyone on the AEW roster. Is there a particular person there you would love to face off in the ring with and be your obstacle to overcome?
Oh, that's a hard one. I don't know. Look, I think you just need to take it as it comes. Roll the punches. So, you hand me an opportunity anywhere, I'm going to execute my plan to the best of my ability and do what I can to overcome that obstacle. If you catch me drift.
I catch your drift and I can see it sailing in the wind, Frank. You are a man who loves an obstacle, but overcoming an obstacle is an even greater satisfaction, I think.
Absolutely. The great Stoic philosophers from centuries past lived by this idea. So I'm no different, although I don't have any of the intelligence or skill as the ancient Stoic philosophers. But look, I appreciate their teachings. I can at least say that. Ha!
Very true, Frank. I need to know, if there's people watching this, either from FPWA, your colleagues, or fans from Scottish or Worldwide Wrestling, and they're seeing you and they just can't put a word on you. They can't describe you with one single word. But you know that word, Frank. Do you know that word? What word should people associate with you when they see you?
Compassion.
Compassion.
I'm a compassionate man with a lot to give to the world, Ben.
Mm-hmm. And I can see it in you, Frank. I can see you are that man of compassion who will give it all on the line to overcome a challenge, to satisfy the crowd, or just to do your very damn best, my friend.
You took the words from my mouth.
Got them right here, my friend. But
I
need to...
saw what you did there.
I try, Frank. I try.
Satellite, but there are things that we can do live via satellite that, the audience wouldn't even have imagined otherwise.
Exactly, viewers. There are some things you do not know about this show that will remain secrets. But Frank, I feel this has been a great episode of the Soul Sessions, but I need to know, for the Frank Sessions, you got anything you want to end, pal? Have you got anything you want to know about the enigma that is myself?
I would just say, Ben, I don't have any further questions. I feel like me questioning you would be like, I don't know, me questioning one of the great Stoic philosophers that I mentioned earlier. What could I possibly ask you that would illuminate the audience or yourself any further than you're already illuminated? Because we know that this audience is a fantastic, also compassionate audience. I feel like you just deserve to be maybe given a little bit of credit for your fine work in this field, Ben. I want to see you keep doing what you're doing. And I want to see you continue to grow to levels that might at this moment be unimaginable. But I think you can take this interstellar. I think you could take this to levels that would be unprecedented in the podcasting world. And I know that's going to happen because you're a man of honor. You're a man of great integrity.
Wow, absolutely, Frank. And who knows, maybe I'll have the first wrestling interview in space. Hit for the stars and shoot for the stars and descend upon any astronomical mount, Frank.
Well, they say space is the place, Ben. Space is the place.
Space is the place. But Frank Gallo, we have come to the end of our time on the Soul Sessions. So bitter and sweet, but more will be in the future. But Frank, before I go, what I love to do with everyone who's been on the show, I know Truth or Dare is coming up for FPWA, but if viewers are enticed and enthralled and want to see more, where can they come and see this show?
So, Truth or Dare, Truth Nightclub, September the 7th, I believe. Leaving, Fife, Scotland, the UK. You know the rest. We're talking about the universe. So let's remain on the universe. And let's just say, if you being of integrity or a being of any kind of stature, please place yourself into the point in the universe that this show will be taking place on September the 7th. Because I guarantee you, if you have a heart and soul, you'll enjoy yourself.
Well, folks, you have heard it from the man's mouth himself. Well, viewers, this has been another episode of the Soul Sessions, and I guess we slip it off the Frank Sessions as well, but I have been your host, Frank Gallo, ladies and gentlemen, and remember to tune in for more Soul Sessions. Have a good day.
Pleasure is all mine.
Pleasure is all mine as well, Frankie boy. Pleasure is all